morning, everyone. Thank you very much once again for attending. Let me introduce myself. My name is Raheel Khan. I'll be basically taking you through, very quickly introducing you through how today companies are looking forward for accessing their existing business intelligence reports, business intelligence information across the enterprise, and giving it across to the various workforce users. Now, what's actually, you have been hearing from my colleagues, both Nick as well as Melvina, as to today everybody wants to go mobile. Everybody wants to access information on their mobile devices, their Blackberries, their iPads, etc. Now, let's take a step back and understand what's making today the world change. What is the reason why we are actually moving this fast in that direction? If you look on the slide behind me, you would find today there is tremendous amount of information which is actually being flowing across, right? Every one of us sitting out here in this room is having tremendous information, data sitting across various places, and everyone wants to access them quickly. This is one. And if you see this, there is around 4 exabytes of information which is going to grow alone this year in 2011. I mean, leave alone the last 5 years, it's much more than that. That's one way of thinking of it. Second, while mass adoption of your mobile devices, if you see China alone has around 70% of its internet users do all the transactions only on their mobile devices. This is again the way the world is changing, and that's not only across China, and you will find that everywhere around the world. Everybody wants to access the mobile device. Going further down, you talk about Facebook, you talk about information coming from various places. I have seen people today, most of my customers, you could see my friends, everyone, they are using their iPads, they want to use their Facebooks, they want to interact with people, and everybody wants to be mobile. Because everybody wants to be on top of the information, everybody wants to be on top of what they are doing so that they are updated to the latest. Last but not the least is when you're talking about these mobile applications, you're talking about these mobile softwares. Let it be on your Blackberry, let it be on your iPad, let it be wherever you want to access it from. There are various regulations which are available or which are actually floating in this market scenario, and everyone wants to be compliant. So this is again another way in which when you access your mobile applications, you will be using them a lot. This is just to give you a slide about what's happening in the mobility revolution. If you actually see, today around 377 million smartphones and applications-enabled devices will be shipped in 2011. Now, we are not saying here, the trend is not of actually replacing your laptops or your desktop. The trend here is accessing the same information what you were accessing in the previous years, but accessing it quickly, accessing it, in today's tough scenarios, you want to be on top of the decision because you want to actually make a decision with the data. You do not want to make a random decision saying, I think my data could be like that on my PC. I'm traveling practically every day. I'll give you a very live example. I'm practically traveling daily. Earlier were the days when I used to say, okay, let me go back to the laptop, let me see my report, what's happening, and then send it back to my manager or take a decision. Today, decisions have to be made right now. Standing in front of you, I'll pick up my iPad, click, yes, the sales is okay, this doesn't look nice. Why? Because I want to have facts in front of me and then make a decision on. That's where the mobility is actually moving. I'm just reading out a comment from the Apple CEO, which basically claimed that 65% of Fortune 100 firms were deploying iPads or piloting projects. Today, companies do not have an option of actually thinking of going mobile. Is because of their workforce being mobile, we are being forced basically into having these applications ready because everybody wants to give the best to the customers. Everybody wants to know the best of what's happening in the business so that they can be on top during these times. Now, a very common scenario. Companies, however large, however small, however big, whatever business they do, everyone is actually having the same basically the challenge is basically bridging the gap between their mobile workforce, which could be in terms of a technician, a sales professional, information worker, executive, whoever it may be, and providing them information to the enterprise information or the warehouse or the structures down there which they have. So if you see, today companies have invested a lot into the ERPs. They have invested a lot into the CRMs. There's a lot going on in terms of the applications which they have deployed. What today is the challenge for all the mobile workers, which is there, these are just a few of them, is that they want to be on top of their work. So basically when they are on the roads, when they are with the customers, they want to know exactly what is the products being there, how much do I have already available in my stock, can I commit to this kind of a sale? These are kind of things which people actually want to. Moreover, often you will see that it's very difficult to access information when you're outside office. This has been a very common problem, and that's why today, if you see, I'm sure if I ask you to raise your hands and say, how many of us in this room are actually having an iPhone or a BlackBerry or even an iPad or any mobile device, and I'm sure everyone is going to raise their hands out here. This is because everyone is now practically knowing that how important information is today in today's world. This is just a small survey which was done by the Aberdeen group, you can see, and they wanted to actually categorize what kind of information people do want to see it on their mobile devices. And as you see here, earlier were the days when we used to get a lot of messages in terms of mobile saying this promotion has started. Like today I get even messages with my bank account when something is being credited or debited. Yes, those are the days when this is the information which is being pushed back to the mobile workers. Today, if you see, a trend is actually changing. Companies are not, I would say, planning, but they are actually going ahead and implementing these mobile solutions. And if you see, the last point out there is the BI dashboards and software on a mobile device. Today, everybody wants to know everything about what's happening in their enterprise in terms of reports. So what is my stock report? What's my sales report? How is my business doing? What's my share price across? They want to know, executives want to know one crispy dashboard. They want to see a nice visualized graphical interface of their business. How are my various regions doing? And this is not all. Everyone wants to be interactive. So if I further go down, you will find people want these not as just pictures. It's very easy to just make a PDF file, for example, and give it to you. So what's the big deal about it? But people want this to be interactive, meaning I would like to see how my regions are actually behaving. Okay, I see something is not well in this particular region. I should be on my BlackBerry. I should be able to on my iPad. I should be able to on my Android. Whatever mobile devices I use, I should be able to click, drill down and find out which of my branches are not doing very well. This particular branch of mine is not done well. Why? Click. Who is the person responsible from branch manager? Click. I should be able to then dial up, connect to the person and say, Mr. So-and-so, we have not been doing very well in this branch and I'm just seeing the online report which is just popped up in my BlackBerry, for example, or in my iPad. What can we do about it? Can we start some promotion? Which is the best promotions I have? Click. I can do some exploration and find out how my promotions have gone across in the previous years. And I will show you a very small video where you will see how one of my colleagues is actually going to do some analysis, try to find out how his business moves, and then they are going to basically send back an email to his manager saying, this is what I found out, and you'll see this is where mobility is actually moving. Consumption of information, interactivity, it should be very visual, and last but not the least, it should have a unified platform. By unified platform, I mean, if I'm seeing a report on my BlackBerry, and when I go back to my iPad, for example, to see, I do not want to know that, oh, this information cannot be shown in that case. I would be able to access information, let it be my desktop, let it be my BlackBerry, in any manner I want to. Here, we have option of various ways in which, for example, somebody wants to see it. Yes, people are working on their desktops with MS Office, they want to consume information there. That's one way of seeing it. There is on-demand solutions where I would like to see it on my mobile devices. And the most important here is my mobile option where, as I mentioned to you, everybody wants to access and be mobile. Just a couple of ways in which people normally want to see their BI. When you think of BI, this could be target, this could be personalized information in terms of a content. So I could see it on my BlackBerry, I could see it on my iPad. Or it could be, as I mentioned, exploration. Meaning, today I see a report, as I mentioned earlier, and I see something is not okay, I can send it to my colleague, great. But what kind of promotions do I need to do? Click. Can I explore? Can I do some analysis? On an iPad today, you can actually see, I will demonstrate to you, how you can actually do explorations and find out, how did my promotion go last year? Oh, my promotion went very well last year. Mr. Nick, can you start a promotion right now and we can have something like this? This is basically how you'd like to see your information. Now, when you talk about information on your, or BI information on your BlackBerry devices or your mobile applications, we are talking of dashboards and reports which are click and touch. Meaning, we want something which is very tightly integrated, again, back to the enterprise, or something changes there at real time, at runtime. I should be able to see my BI information, optimize reports for viewing. Last but not the least is I should be able to interact, so I can change, drill, analyze, filter which region, which country, which branch across, and not only this, I should be able to share. So basically accessing, interacting with information, and sharing. These are the three main factors which today consumers and people like us are actually looking for accessing on their mobile devices. When you talk about accessing information or interactivity, it could be, yes, it could be an email, it could be calling, it could be writing back information, or even report navigation. Let me give you a simple example. It could be as simple as, one of my regions didn't do very well. I click, I find out why it was not, and if you can see, my American Express is not doing very well for its actuals and compared to my budgets. Another click, I should be able to find out who's the sales manager over there, who's looking after that particular branch. Click, and I'm calling him right now, and I will be calling him and I'm speaking to him. This is where mobile applications are moving: consumption, interactivity, visualization, and again, sharing of this information. These are just some of the options which you would like to see on your simple BlackBerry devices. Today, BlackBerry is very common. Everybody practically has a BlackBerry device, an iPad device. So this is what you could do. You could drill down to your link reports. You could do various analysis. You could see your performance metrics. So is my KPIs good? How am I doing? Rather than waiting for me to go back to the office in order to make a decision, I'm on the road, I'm on the flights, I'm outside, I need to make a decision, and a valuable business decision based on factual data. I was talking of explorations. I'd like to actually go and show you a small video. Here, if you see, I'm accessing my business intelligence content from my BlackBerry device, and let's go ahead with this. Here, I'm first logging in, as I mentioned earlier, security. So based on your security, which you have already been defined, it's going to respect that security login, and I'm going to see my dashboard. I can see my cameras are not doing very well. It's in the red zone, the trend is going down. Which regions are my products not doing very well? I'm more interested in finding out what's happening in this APJ area, which is Asia Pacific. I can click on it and find out which countries in those regions are not doing very well. So I can find out everything looks okay, India does not look well, for some reason the trend is down. Click. I want to call Nick, who's basically the branch manager or the director who's looking after the sales in India, and I'm going to talk to him and I'm going to ask him what's happening. So if you see, I was not only able to visualize, I was also able to interact, and at the same time click, share information, and drill down and find out more information about him.